Yo, what's up, Selangor people? So I know this video is a bit late, but your AMALI is coming out this spinach strip, the kangkung, right? Basically, which is effect of different concentration of solution on potato strip, or it could be even spinach strip, the kangkung lor. So basically, this experiment, okay, just a quick overview. When you put your kangkung or your potato strip in this solution, which is basically they will give you two unknown solution. So when you put in these two solution, you got to base on the observation to determine which is hypo, which is hypertonic solution. Okay, more on that later. First, we talk about the variables first, because some of you say might have a procedure, means it's unguided, you write procedure. Okay, but if they ask you to write procedure, right, first you got to know the variables, the three variables, and one more you have to write is the method to handle. Okay, so number one, manipulated variable definitely is your type of solution, because you got different type of solution affect your potato strip. So that is your manipulated variable. Now, method to handle, how to write, very simple. So since you only got two solutions, X and Y, so for method to handle, you just going to list down all the solution that you use. So basically, I use different solution X and Y, larutan yang berbeza, X dan Y digunakan. Then for the responding variable is what happened to your spinach. So basically, it's the shape of your spinach strip or the bentuk of your jalo kangkung. So depending on the experiment, some of you might be potato, so you must just shape of potato strip lah. 那个 bentuk jalo of the ubi kentang. So how to handle is right now when you see the shape already right now, in most experiments, right, we need to write measure and record. You measure the length, you record the length. Okay, but this one got nothing to measure, nothing to record. So you just basically observe and draw the changes of the spinach. So you just perhatikan dan lukis, look and draw. That's it. Draw the shape of the spinach. So that's what you need to write in your procedure later. Now for constant dimalakan is the soaking period. Means how long you're going to soak your spinach strip inside the solution X and Y. So both of course have to be the same. If one 15 minutes, both also have to be 15 minutes. So it's soaking period, masa rendaman. So you need to mention how long. 15 minutes means you got to list down 15 minutes is the keyword. Fix the soaking period at 15 minutes. Kekalkan masa rendaman pada 15 minutes. So the amount, the value that you kekalkan, that you fix is how much you need to mention. Okay. So once that you know the variables already, how to handle. Okay, if let's say they ask you to write procedure, you only need to write 4 things, then full marks already. So the variables. So for example, we got two solutions X and Y. So for manipulated variable, you're going to mention immerse the spinach strip or the potato strip in solution X and Y. You rendam dalam dua larutan X dan Y is basically 1 mark already, manipulated variable. Okay, then you need to mention how long you soak. If you mention 15 minutes, that's your constant variable, dimalakan. So you mentioned the time. So selepas 15 minutes, selepas 15 minit, you take up the water spinach and you wipe with the filter paper. So wipe with filter paper is actually a method to handle, because you make your result more accurate, because you absorb the excess water that's on top of the spinach strip. Okay. Then responding, you must mention, remember you said just now, observe and draw. Perhati and lukis the change of the shape in your water spinach. So you just need to write these 3 sentences for procedure. It's actually that simple. If they got asked procedure, but what I heard is mostly is guided one, don't need to write procedure. Okay, so then here, you need to draw, right? So basically, there's only 2 things that will happen. Basically, one is hypo, one is hyper. So one will shrink, one will expand. Okay, satu akan mengejut, satu akan mengembang. Now, so for this one, you can see it's actually kembang already, expand already. Means like your water go in, it expand. So if you expand, it means it will push the skin out. It will melengkung keluar, it will curve out. So epidermis is the skin. Okay, so for this one, right, basically shrink already because water come out. So water come out, you must draw the skin wrap around the flesh. So how to draw? You just draw like this. So for this one, the skin will curve outwards. So you must draw the skin being pushed out. So this you must always label. Don't forget, label the epidermis. So for this one, the skin will wrap around the flesh. Oops. So the skin is here like this. So you can see the flesh here becomes small already. Okay. And then, very simple. If this one, mengembang, expand, means basically water diffuse in. So if water diffuse in, this is definitely larutan hypotonic solution. If the water come out like this one, see shrink already, means obviously is hyper. Because remember, water molecules always flow from more water to less water. Done. Then they will always definitely ask you to explain, okay, why you have this result. So for solution X, you just have to say, first, the spinach strip curve outwards. So you must state what you draw. So what is this? This is your spinach curve out. So because, and explain why it curve out, because solution hypotonic towards the cell set of spinach strip. Now you must always compare hypo towards the cell because water always go in and out of the cell. So it is outside hypo to inside, water will diffuse in. Don't forget to mention by osmosis. So BM also sama lah. You have to say meresap ke dalam secara osmosis. Okay, then for Y is the opposite lah. So now it shrink already because water come out because outside is hyper. So same thing, you just compare. First, number one, your spinach strip curve inward, melengkung ke dalam, tadi keluar mah. So solution Y is hypertonic. So therefore, the water molecule will diffuse out by osmosis. Same, don't forget, right? Osmosis. Understand? Then moving on, and definitely they will ask you, classify the two solution X and Y. So they ever ask you to gelaskan solution, classify the solution, determine the type of solution. Definitely they want you to write hypo and hyper. So remember, if the water go in and cause the strip to expand, berkembang means outside got more water, it's called hypotonic solution. So you always remember hypo is like hypo like water. So hypo always got more water one lah. Then the other one is the opposite, hyper. All right. So sometimes they might ask like this kind of question, like a random question. You might need use a bit of bio knowledge to answer. So here they have a pickled mango, mangga jeruk. So they say a housewife wants to make pickled mango based on the recipe. However, she finds that the sugar in the house is not enough. So she only put 3 tablespoons of sugar, while the recipe says you must put 6. So if you don't understand how this sugar pickling works is, right, if you put your mango inside a very concentrated sugar solution, means it's hypertonic. So water will come out and then basically the bacteria inside cannot survive. So the bacteria also need water. But now you only got 3 tablespoons of sugar. So what happened is, right, the sugar maybe not enough. So maybe not enough water will come out. So inside will still have water. Right? So they ask you to predict, ramalkan apa yang berlaku to the mango, what will happen to the mango. Means if inside still got water, the bacteria still can survive. So the mango will spoil fast. Basically, this is a bio thing lah. Okay, not really an experiment thingy. So your explanation, I already said, because water cannot diffuse out completely, air tidak meresap keluar dengan sepenuhnya. So therefore, germs, microorganisms still can grow. That's why the thing will spoil. And the final question, a lot of you definitely will ask one, operational definition. So how to write? Now, even though here I write 3 marks, right? But most of the time, the question is just 2 marks on it. Okay. How to score these 2 marks? Number 1, you must write the definition, which is slightly different than what we usually learn. And number 2, you just need to answer with your variables, manipulated and responding variable. Boleh ubah bergerak balas and the demanipulasi. Okay, first, if they ask what is the operation definition of osmosis, first you must write the definition based on the experiment. What do you mean by that? Okay, we all know osmosis is movement of water molecules, pergerakan molekul air, right? But in this experiment, we are looking at how water go in and out of the spinach strip of the jalur kangkung. So you must say osmosis is the movement of water molecules in and out of spinach strip cells. Pergerakan molekul air ke dalam dan keluar jalur kangkung. Then the other 2 points, you must write like this, shown by the shape of water spinach, means shown by your responding, affected by your manipulated. So no matter what experiment you do, right, responding always affected by manipulated. Pembeli ubah bergerak balas dipengaruhi oleh dimanipulasi. No matter what experiment, it's always the same, right? So basically, your shape of spinach strip affected by the type of solution. So actually, every experiment, no matter what experiment, right, the second point very easy to score one. Just have to say, shown by RV, affected by MV. Ditunjukkan oleh bentuk jalur kangkung selepas 15 minit dipengaruhi oleh jenis larutan yang digunakan. Okay, so basically this is the most likely the thing you have to do lah. So of course there is one more that you could ask, which they asked you to draw graph. And this one I don't think you have much time to do, so I don't think will be this one. But I will include these notes in the description below. You can go and download it and look at yourself. Basically, this one is ask you to draw graph, and then you must find the isotonic concentration, which is basically the x-intercept. Okay, this one I'll just leave the notes down below, but most likely is this one, the one that we just mentioned. Okay, so good luck to you guys. See you guys next time. Bye bye.